Good morning, I'm Mike Sockol. It's Thursday, July 23rd. It's going to be hot today, so let's tip our hats to Charles E. Mencius, who, according to tradition, invented the ice cream cone on this date in 1904.
This is the 1987 Golden Triangle telephone directory. Now, let's say that you get an emergency situation and you have to get the Port Arthur police fast. If you turn to the emergency page in this directory and make the telephone call, you won't get the Port Arthur police. You'll get a telephone message saying that this number has been disconnected. The church's secretary was the first one to hear the smoke alarm. The fire apparently began in the church's kitchen. She then went upstairs and told the kids to get out of the building. The kids knew how to get out of the building primarily because they had a fire drill last week.
Mike Sockol is standing by live with more on that story. Mike?
Well, Gene and Leslie, I'm standing outside of Lee's home on Lombardi Drive in Port Arthur, which this morning was treated to a dose of deja vu. After all, this is the location of the old Happy Times video shop. And Jefferson County officials decided to pay another visit to Mr. Lee after they were tipped off by a federal informant that Lee was allegedly trafficking cocaine. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's football action, because after tomorrow night's game between the Jets and the Patriots, it looks like Mudville won't be the only place where there is no joy. Oh, sure, the NFL owners threatened to play the rest of the season with whoever they can get their hands on, but who's going to plop down $30 to see a rerun of the USFL? Maybe someone can convince Greg Landry or Craig Morton to make another comeback. Well, anyway, the Players Association Executive Director Gene Upshaw remained pessimistic today. He said he doesn't see any hope that tomorrow's strike deadline might be postponed. The strike would be the fifth by the players since 1968. Scuba diving wasn't the only thing eliminated by the insurance carrier. This popular diving board is now out of business. Smith Lake also had to eliminate its paddle boats and kill plans to put a water swing right over here. Natasha Jones was last seen going to the backyard of her home here on San Jacinto Street. Police Lieutenant Ron Robertson speculates that she may have been killed because the kidnapper may have been trying to get revenge against her mother, or because he was just trying to cover up the original kidnapping. About 100 of the apartments are abandoned, and they're going to be included in this remodeling project. And all the changes aren't going to be just cosmetic. Some of them are going to be for safety reasons. Now, all the walls are made with plywood, and that's a fire hazard, and they're going to replace that with sheetrock. Now, if you're trying to publicize a new art museum, what better way than to use art itself? Artist Maud Karen has produced 3 designs that will be rotated on local billboards to announce the city's new art museum. Yesterday, the first in the series went up piece by piece.
Well, it's not only different for the city of Beaumont, it's different for our company as well. It's one of the few times, if not the only time, that we've actually put up art on one of our billboards. So we're excited about it.
Well, this style of painting is known as primitive art. Karen, by the way, calls it Afternoon in the Park. Yep, looks like primitive art, all right. You can view it on the corner of Laurel and Willow Streets near the federal courthouse. Now, looking once again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about art. I don't want anyone to get that impression. Looking once again at our forecast, sunny and hot today, humid too, a 20% chance of rain, a high in the low 90s. We're going to get the phone calls anyways, friends. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm Mike Sockol. Make it a good day. Even Shakespeare thought the moon had some impact on all of us. He wrote in Othello, "It is the very error of the moon. She comes more near the earth than she is wont, and makes men mad." Last night's murder-suicide marked the second and third shooting deaths to happen this week, but it appears to be only coincidence that a full moon is lurking. Only 30% of the murders committed in 1985 and 1986 happened within 4 days of a full moon, and that figure is roughly the statistical average of a murder happening within 4 days of any date. Well, I've always wondered what it was like to be in one of these babies, so I thought we'd take a little ride. I have to warn you, though, it's not for the meek at heart. I've done a lot of flooding stories in my time here in Beaumont, and I have to admit it's rather unnerving when I know that I have my apartment somewhere over there. Now, the water here on Dowland Street is at some points as high as 3 to 4 feet. How do I know? Well, I walked across the street just about an hour ago. TSDA staff members are picketing in Beaumont today because the president of the TSDA, Charles Beard, is a Beaumont teacher. Beard and other TSDA officials are in Los Angeles. They're attending the national convention of the National Education Association. Those officials should be back in the state later this week, and that's when contract talks should get back underway. Mike Sockol, Channel 4 News.